Hi, I'm Rainis. I'm a senior customer success manager at Infogram, and welcome to advanced Infogram functionality. Infogram is a very intuitive tool. We empower everyone, beginners and experts alike, to quickly transform raw data into engaging and mobile friendly interactive content. And we have AI that helps with that. But having said that, in my years of experience here, I've noticed that people seem to overlook some really awesome features and options right there in the editor. These can help in adjusting content to their liking or conjuring real storytelling that has a deeper impact on their readers. Now, that helps with engagement, and we've proven that that helps with depth of scroll. Now, if you are a true beginner to Infogram, we also have a getting started session on our webinars page where you can get to know all the basics, navigating the library, seeing lots of examples, and all that in just under 20 minutes. But today I'm going straight into the editor, so everyone knows about the more advanced features and most of our cool options. What I will cover some content rearrangement and sort of readjustment options so you don't have to do everything manually or adapt something multiple times. Then some nice options on editing charts, including x-axis, labels, fills, and so on. Then there will be some nice way to build and export that content for social media, including some really neat moving sort of event invites. Then just linking in general, linking to pages or even interlinking content for elegant interactive dashboards. Then some callouts so you don't have to cram everything on a single page. And lastly, our animation options, including animating something that's dependent on your movement. So, without further ado, let's get started. Placing, adjusting, and replicating the content faster. I will simply share my screen and show you some tips around this topic. Here it is. I'll make that bigger. So this is a timeline, one of the ready-made templates that Infogram offers. What you can do is you can group objects together. Like so, you drag and mark across several objects, or even hold down your shift key to select that one other object that you'd like. Then just group this together. So it's one single group that you can just move around and copy over. If you don't like this, you delete it. And if you don't like all the other objects, feel free to delete them as well. But you can copy this, and copy this until you have something that you like. What's good about this is that you can change these separate objects still on the canvas. And in the end, have a nice looking template like this embedded on your website. Right, now copying from other templates is possible as well. Let's say you added a page here, but you didn't know where to start really. You wanted a list of objects, right? So you take any of the templates that Infogram offers, like so. You copy over, again, just like I just did. Hit Command C or Control C, so you copy it. You go back to your project and hit Command V. Wonderful. You can move this around, maybe be on the top like so, but you don't like the colors of them all. You can select multiple objects. Again, hold down your shift key, select that both of these are one color and all the text objects as well some other color. So that's how you can easily change several objects at once. Last off, there's a little hack of connecting shapes. So you can create like explanatory nodes like this and other kinds of explanations and lists and flows. So if you do have a shape like so, and let's say you have several others that have some kind of text inside of them, what you can do, you can see when you hover over a shape, there's this little blue sort of button, and out goes an arrow. You can connect this to others, and what's best is it moves around with it, right? So if you create them bigger or smaller, like so, it will move with it. And you just copy this and move these somewhere else, right? If you'd like, again, one, two, three, change all their colors at the same time, and so on. So create, flows, timelines, stuff like this with grouping, copying, and changing several objects at once. I'm going to stop screen share. I hope you like that, and we can jump into the next topic of editing charts. Editing charts. We've introduced quite a lot more options to adjust charts to your liking and needs, and charts can have now a fresh glossy background. They can have labels in different places, rounded corners even, border widths, lots of text inside them, even accessibility patterns and so on. And all that lives simply in the settings of each of the charts. It's just a matter of flicking a switch. But one of the more popular charts out there, and I sometimes have had questions about that chart, is the line chart, right? So I'd like to share my screen again and just show a couple of options. Here it is. And so you can adjust the axis. I'm going to say that right in the beginning, okay? So if you go to edit data, where you would normally upload the data, you can switch on this gear wheel, and then you tell Infogram that this is a date on the axis, and the input value is just years, for example, right? So now Infogram knows what this means basically, and then you go to axis and grid, and you can find that there's x-axis intervals. Okay, and that's it. That's how you can adjust the axis on a line chart. Now, what other new options there are, for example, is under chart properties, you can show line labels at the end and show endpoint values. Then, what's more is that data animation option where you can set a sort of a duration to animate it. So you can have basically a racing line chart that you can export as a GIF or place on your website. Now there are also fill options as well. So if you go to colors and you can see gear icons now, you will see that there's a fill, a gradient fill that looks really nice, or a solid fill as well for this chart. Now this means there are a couple of hacks even to try and show some kind of either a trend or something on the chart. So for example, Great Depression years, Great Depression, and it's in these years, on the maximum value there. And so if under settings now I set that there's no points on it or at all, and I don't even show that there's a line. So under colors, I go and I set it to be 0 line weight. That's it. It would have this sort of effect, of showing some specific year outlines on it. And since we have a 0 line width, this means that also for other types of charts, you can have it as simple points, right? Not as a trend. Now, if we go to a more advanced chart, these multi-line charts where there's a line as well, then I can go and set that the line is 0. And this is how you can show not a trend, but separate, stats on a chart. I can of course set how big the point size is and so on, but this could help you out maybe at some point. And that's it. I hope you liked it, and on to the next one. Exporting projects for offline use is a great way to engage your social media followers, but you can also do this for creating emails that have movement and intriguing invites and other kinds visual content basically. So all of that is possible in Infogram, and let me share my screen to show you how. Right, so this is a project in Infogram. This is one of those moving charts that has the data animation, and you can just export this as a GIF, like as a separate object, by just clicking with your right mouse. Export as animated GIF, right? That will export this movement to you. You can also go to the download section and export a whole project. And that means that you can just place any objects like this on the top, and also some text, like to highlight something. In this case, there was a huge growth for Asia. So growth of 19% for Asia, right? Fascinating fact there that we can place on the top. And remember how previously I told you that you can select and hold down your shift key, select both objects and group them together. Now if you add an animation that it has some delay to it and a longer duration, then in the end you can go to download and select that it downloads for you a GIF that looks like this. So you can place this on your social media or send out in an email or include in a presentation. And I think it looks great, right? Now, you can check out a lot of other objects and templates as well. From objects, I mean in the charts, when you scroll down, you will find lots of these sort of moving, easy to edit projects like this one, right? Where you can just, again, hover over, export as animated GIF and place somewhere on social media, or in the templates you will find lots of templates. So if you go to the templates section and then social media posts, you will find lots of templates that you can adjust to your liking. You can always preview, and if you like this one with the moving bear that you can always change, and the moving objects and this type of data, and the tabs will be moving as well, then you can just use this template, right? And one of the things that I like is that you can write some keywords like a webinar, right? And use this kind of project. New invite, right? Now we do have a project like this. Let me just set that it doesn't have a footer and that it has some branding. And we do have in the enterprise plan special branding capabilities. So if you have some branding, right, with your fonts and colors, we can implement that and it will apply these colors automatically to the whole project. Right, so like a business thinking webinar like this one, right? We can create it, but we can also create a two-page document. First of all, I can insert any type of image just by dragging and dropping. And then there are a couple of more cool options, such as removing background, right? So this will be the main speaker, but then I can also create a second page of it and delete some things and create some things that are bigger. Let's do it like this. But then on the first page, we just have this. Okay, so what will happen now, I can go to downloads. I can go as an animated GIF, preview this, and this will be a two-page webinar invite, business thinking invite that goes from page 1 to page 2, and I can just download this as a GIF and place. I've seen this multiple times being used on social media such as LinkedIn, right, where professionals place their upcoming events, and then it seems much more sort of engaging for their followers and readers if it's moving from one page to the next one and it isn't just a plain project. This is how it looks. Business thinking webinar, it could be, and then join our upcoming business webinar. Right, I hope again you liked this. There's there's a bunch of ways to use animated GIFs, so be sure to try out most of them. And again, thanks a lot for sticking with me, and on to the next section, which will be linking. Linking and interlinking. And this is a big one, because this is how you can create some real interactivity for your readers. Let me just show you a couple of examples in the beginning, and then we can go from there. Okay, bigger. All right, so with linking, you can create, whole dashboards like this where I as a reader can interact with the content and go from page to page here on the top, right? This is called page linking. Then you can also interlink the objects together. So if I change Germany's regions here, like so, all the charts change as well, right? Really interactive maps and tables and so on. And all of those are interlinked together. And in the end, even the charts and maps themselves could be clickable. So for example, here, if I click here, it goes to some sort of page in my own project. But if it can also lead to external URL. Right, so if I just click on any object like this little light bulb here, I can just click on adding a link, or in the settings I can find adding a link, right? If I click URL, okay, google.com, apply, and if someone clicks on it like this, it will lead to google.com. How the page linking works is, again, I click on some text or on anything and to another page, page 2. Here, same story, to another page, page 3. Right, so what happens now is I have a linked project that I can send to someone, they view it like this, and they can go to page 1 or to page 3 or back to page 1, like so. Right, this is called page linking. Now you can interlink objects together as well. So if you have several objects that have the same tabs, they will both change at the same time, right? So if you have, let's say, 2 charts like this, and for this one I can just to showcase the differences, I can do this. And I can even have a master switch without any data in it. It can be just 2 tabs that are clickable. So let's insert a table. Let's delete everything from it, but let's insert 2 sheets to them, right? So here I'm going to name it 2010, this one 2020, right? And also, under colors I can set some colors to them if I'd like, but for these ones I can hide the tabs. That's under chart properties, hide them, hide this one as well. So what happens now? A master switch to control all other charts, right? The main part is that these charts have the same sort of tab names, right? Lastly, it can be inside the charts themselves, right? So if I open up the data editor, for example, what do we have here? Australia, right? Right mouse click, add or change a link to another page, for example, or to some URL for about Australia's reports. Apply that, and if Australia is clicked, again share this with someone. They go to page 3. They see that Australia is clickable. They go to a different page again. And so this is how you can create real, I think, interactivity in your projects. Thanks a lot for watching. And now, topic number 5, callouts. Basically, hidden pop-ups that show up when your readers interact with content that you've created. Again, I'm going to share my screen and show you around. Now, they shouldn't be confused with tooltips. Tooltips are these automatic ones that show up when I just hover over some interactive charts or maps. And tooltips can also be customized, right? In a map, I can double click on a map, open up the settings, insert something in the text column, and that will show up when readers hover over, like so. And for charts, I can go into tooltips, customize content, and we have some presets for you, and you can just highlight, bold, and style, and all that will be possible in these automatic tooltips. Right, but callouts provide more options because they have rich text editing inside of them. So take any graphic, any icon, image, any shape. I'll just take a shape, place that on the canvas, make that bigger so it's easier to see. And since it has full rich text editing, then you can click on add callout here or in the settings. Then you can just write anything. Hello everyone. France had 43% growth 2020, 2025. Right. And I can just drag across some text make it bold, make it maybe bigger, even change its colors if I need to, just like so. And now whenever someone clicks on it, hello everyone, right? More context is provided. Then you can click on it again and go to its settings to change the behavior, to change the background of it all, to add a image inside of it, right? It's just to find an image, add that, and find where it's actually located, right? Basically like so. You can change it or change it like this. And yeah, this is how you can create much more customized content, and even including if you click on something, again drag and mark it and add a link to it, right? Google.com. All right, so what happens now? Click on it. Hello everyone. I can click on it to go to a separate URL or to a separate page. Remember my section about URLs and linking. So this is how other clients have created explanations with much more context. No need to cram that on the canvas. This is how you can have lots more text, basically. Keep it simple and clean. And you can even have these images explaining, train routes in some regions, or explaining even stats, like so, because you can have an image of a chart inside of it, right? And finally, here's the most advanced one. You can hover over and see page 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So it can be like real page linking, like so. Right. I hope that you like this. Just to be clear, you can just copy something, like this little pointer here, change it, and then inside just change the text and the images quite quickly in the settings. That's how you work your way onwards. Now we have two of these. Click and click. Right. Thanks again for watching, this far at least. Please stick with me for that last bit, the animations. Animations. They can make any dull topic or static flat project come to life. Let me show you how to easily apply and organize those animations. Okay. Now I'm going to use the elements for this topic. I'm just going to go to, like icon blocks, set up an icon block, and you want to send to your colleagues that there's something to be reminded of, like these three items here. I'm just going to click quickly on the icons there so they are more easily distinguishable. Right, and it's kind of a nice visual project, but it doesn't have any movement to it. So you can just click on an icon and add an animation, right? You can see what's the delay, what's the duration of an animation, and if it's once, it will be once playing out when visible, or always playing out, or on scroll into view. So if I click on the next item, I add an animation, it's going to save that for my next object. Again, click, add an animation, and that's it. Right, and this is how now I can either download as a little GIF to be playing out in any kind of presentation or email body, or share this. It's going to have 1, 2, 3. Okay, so easy. And you can easily just manage all of them by clicking on the animation and overview, right? It's going to highlight it, and you can just remove them just like so. But there are two advanced options as well. So those animations on scroll into view will create a project like this, where I sort of scroll and the objects follow my scroll, right? So you can see this one and this chart and this little train here with the stats. Now that simply is, creatable by copying like this, clicking, and on scroll into view. Now you're going to see some options here that will change sort of automatically. It's when it will start or end, right, with your scrolling. What happens now, I would just leave the defaults, by the way, there in the beginning. What happens now is this scrolling effect, right, to the item. So that's how you can create any little, item, really follow the mouse and have your readers be engaged. And there's another option. If you have a multi-page, like a dashboard, you can make page transition animations. Let me show you. Again, we create this as a little bit like a dashboard, right? Like this. Let's say there are a couple of charts or some items on this canvas, and we copy this page, and these items, kind of repeat, but they are in different places, and other items come in the middle, like so. But these ones, you change their titles, you change their perhaps some colors, like this, or change the icon, itself, and so on. And what happens if you click on page transitions, add them, and then choose transform, right? Now you have these two pages. It's going to have an effect like this, right? So it's kind of, moving from page to page, and that's how you can create projects like these. It's moving from page to page. See, I go from page to the second page, I go to the third page, and these items move across. Right. And that's all I wanted to show there. Thanks a lot for watching, but a little bonus at the end, because good things come to those that wait or sit through a webinar, right? Here I'd just like to quickly give a shout out to our AI capabilities, because after learning all of these, you create something really special. You wow your partners or your colleagues, and they might want to create something like that. But they wouldn't know where to even start or how to create data visualizations, right? Well, let me show you how to recreate maybe a fairly ugly chart, not in minutes, but in seconds. Okay, I'm just going to share my whole screen this time. Make that bigger. Just gonna start a new page there. And you're going to see that if you click here in charts, image to chart, right, you can recreate any static flat, 3D, let's say, images like these into an embeddable interactive chart. It's going to analyze your image. Images with visible values will work best, of course, because the AI doesn't have to guess what values are in there, but that's it. It just recreates that image. Of course, you have to recheck the data, but in this case, for simple images like those, it does work pretty well. And I think you can quickly change the colors. Of course, you can have the data animations or some corner radius and all of that, but just have an embeddable moving chart like this. Even if you go to your files and you just drag and drop something on the canvas like this, it's going to give you that option, right? So here, convert to chart. It's going to think for a while. Okay, and that's it. It has all the pound signs and everything. Accept and regenerate this chart. Right, so this chart can also be, have some backgrounds, have some set different axis and grid settings, but it can be just a more good looking chart. And that's it. I think you'll find all other options with AI as well throughout the canvas there, but this one might help the early starters. Now, really, thanks a lot for watching, and hope to see you at another webinar soon. Do reach out to us in hello@infogram.com if you have any questions. Bye.